Hey guys, such an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Draven supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at lethal tempo on Draven. Now I know that I did mention in my previous updated complete guide that I did a couple of weeks ago that I thought lethal tempo on Draven wasn't really good. But now the reason I said that is because I only tried one match of lethal tempo on Draven, I got stomped, and I thought it wasn't good. But honestly now, after testing a lot more matches of lethal tempo on Draven, I actually think it's really good at the moment. I actually honestly rather take it than Conqueror, but Conqueror is still really good on Draven, as is Kraken Slayer. But I think that the order I would take is I would take lethal tempo first, Conqueror second, and Kraken Slayer third. Personally, but I think in terms of rune choices, both for the keystones as well as for all the minor runes, I think Draven has one of the most flexible options depending on what's your playstyle and what you like. So I'm going to briefly skim through the build. I'm going to focus more on talking about the runes and the spells. So first up, the items. As you guys can see, you have the Bloodthirster, you have the IE, and you have the Stormrazor. Pretty much that is the 3 crit items that every Draven player can agree upon. That should be your first 3 crit items. The only thing what people don't agree upon is the order. So really the order, in my opinion, is personal preference. Some people like to go for Stormrazor first into IE and then Bloodthirster. Some people like to even start off with the IE first and then go for one of the other two. This order is my personal favorite. I like going for Bloodthirster first, IE second, and Stormrazor third. And yeah, you can feel free to switch up the order for according to what you prefer. Now for the boots, I like going for the Boots of Fury because I like getting that movement speed to kite or to chase, but some people like to go for defensive boot options as well. And normally for the enchant you go for Stasis. Of course after that you go for Maul Reminder for the Grievous Wounds and Armor Penetration, and GA for the Revive. You can also build GA earlier if you're very fed and you have not died and you have accrued a big shutdown. Some matches you do have that, so you can get a GA earlier as well if you need to. And yeah, if your GA is down, pretty much the best replacement item for it is either Solar Recharge Blade or Rapid Fire Cannon. Alright, so talking about the runes, as I mentioned, lethal tempo is really good. Mostly, honestly, in like long drawn out fights, obviously, like late game team fights, or sometimes even in lane where someone chooses to fight you for extended duration of time. Generally, that isn't really the case because most people know how strong Draven is, and most people won't take long trades against Draven because Draven wins pretty much all long trades. So more lethal tempo is more of a late game teamfight rune as compared to a early game laning phase rune, whereas Conqueror is kind of good all across the board, and Kraken Slayer is a little bit more focused towards the early laning phase. So as I said, it kind of really depends on what kind of playstyle you like. Now personally, I really love it when you stack up that lethal tempo and you're attacking at rapid speed. Now I did say before that Draven doesn't care too much about attack speed because he can get it from his W, but honestly lethal tempo as a rune, you get so much value from it, especially because now that Conqueror is nerfed, it's not obviously the best rune on Draven anymore. So I think lethal tempo has managed to creep up and become the best rune for Draven. Alright, so for the domination, you honestly have 3 options. Now my personal playstyle, I like to go for all or nothing on Draven, so I like to take Champion. But lately, I've been considering Hunter Vampirism and Triumph a lot as well. Now Triumph has helped me execute people a lot more times than what I would normally think, and also the heal has helped me survive multiple like 1v1 fights like in a minion wave or close calls like that. So the Triumph rune is really good on Draven, and as is the Hunter Vampirism. But personally, I really don't think you need Hunter Vampirism because you already have the Bloodthirst. I think you have more than enough lifesteal. But hey, you know, you can never have too much lifesteal, so wouldn't argue with you too much if you go for that. Now, the only rune I think Draven that's not really debatable for Draven is the Nullifying Orb. Now, despite it getting nerfed in the most recent patch, it's 20 base shield nerf. Yeah, it kind of hurts in the early game, but that shield is still really essential for Draven in the laning phase to win out on the 2v2s and the 1v1s, and even in the later stages of the game, the shield is really, really helpful. So I don't really think you can take anything else there, except perhaps Hunter Titan if you prefer. Now, for the last rune slot, there really are a lot of options here. Nimbus Cloak gives you that a little bit of extra mobility when you cast your sums. Works really well on Draven. What else works well? Demolish, I think, is also viable because sometimes you can shove your opponents out of lane, but you don't actually really get kills, and that's going to help you get more plates to get ahead and get a lead. Even Hunter Genius, if you really, really like it, you can also go for it, but I don't really recommend. And lastly, we have the spells, which of course is Exhaust and Flash. Now, of course, we do know Exhaust got nerfed, but honestly, as I said in my patch video, like, for the purposes of countering assassins or backline divers, it really doesn't matter. You don't really use Exhaust to chase all that much anyway, so I really still think that it is fine. So, yeah, Exhaust and Flash still the go-to for Draven. So now we can jump straight on into the gameplay. Alright, so here we have the actual Draven gameplay. Now, Draven himself recently did get nerfed as well. He did get a 10% scaling reduction on his Q with the AD, of course. So he did get a nerf pretty recently in the latest patch as well. But honestly, I do think that it doesn't affect him too much. Now, a trick I like to do on Draven is this trick. I like to ward the enemy side bush, and then I wait in the bush with my support for the enemy, and we get a few free auto attacks. Now, half of the time it forces a flash, the other half of the time the laner will get chunked. So here I'm waiting for Lulu's shield to wear off, and now I'm going in. So as you guys can see, 2 auto attacks plus a W from from Nami has managed to basically put the Akshan to below half health. Now Lulu actually pops Summoner Heal to actually heal him up there, so he's now at half health, but it's still a really good trade. Basically, honestly, in the early game, no one can really out-trade Draven. Maybe Lucian if he bursts Draven, but in a long drawn-out fight, no one can out-trade Draven. So now, when you play Draven, of course, you want to be aggressive to a certain extent, but not overly so. Here you see I'm trying to walk up to auto-attack them, because even though I'm taking minion aggro from attacking them, I will deal more damage than I take. So overall, it's still a good trade for me. Now here you see is a really good example of when your axe goes to the wrong place. It went under the tower. I'm not going to walk in there to retrieve my axe, so I'm just going to let it fall to the ground. You can't always greet for the axe catch. It's just a really common mistake for Draven players. You can't catch every single axe. Sometimes, especially in like late game team fights, you gotta just let it drop. If not, you're going to get hit by some CC, because that indicator of where your axe is going to be makes it really obvious for enemies as to where you're going to be, because most likely you're going for the axe catch. Alright, so anyways, here, as you guys can see, generally as Draven, you want to generally just shove the wave and attack the enemies at the same time. But of course, this is the main issue with doing that, is it's gonna really open you up to gank. So Draven, a lot like Caitlyn, is a champion that you want to play really aggressive, but at the same time, you need to kind of track where the enemy jungler is, so that you know when you need to like let up a little bit on the aggression. In this case, the Gragas is in the river bush, so in this case I can play really aggressive because I know that he's there ready to back me up. Nami hits a pretty nice bubble. Gragas is thinking of going in, but ends up honestly doing actually nothing aside from revealing his own position. So we managed to get the Akshan's flash though, and we also managed to get the Lulu pretty low. So in my opinion, that's kind of good enough for me. So Lulu has both sums down. Akshan still has his barrier, but he doesn't have flash anymore. Gragas tries to go in for the body slam, misses horrendously, and honestly has still contributed nothing much yet to the attempt on their lives, except perhaps his actual presence putting pressure on them. But he hasn't actually really hit anything at all. But anyways, doesn't really matter. We're just gonna back, and we're just gonna pick up a couple of items. So sometimes you will have these scenarios in really often in the lane. Now, honestly, as Draven, you only have like 3 possible scenarios, which is you either kill people and start getting fed and start snowballing, or you start feeding because you're so aggressive and the enemy jungler camps you. Thankfully, that's not the case in this match. Or number 3, you're really aggressive and you manage to get like chunk of damage onto them, but you can't actually finish off the kills, and you end up like 0, 0, and 0. Now, honestly, in this scenario, which is what we have here, honestly, I think it's not too bad. Like, generally at the first dragon, everybody's going to be forced to fight, so majority of the time, at the first dragon, you will have like 100 plus stacks most of the time if you have been catching your axes properly, and you haven't died, and that's honestly fine, because most of the time you should be able to get a kill there and cash in your stacks. But of course, it can be a little bit exasperating if you can't do that. So you want to, of course, focus on just staying safe, not dying when it comes to the dragon fight, that is, and trying to cash in your huge amount of stacks when you get to the dragon. So now here we're at 4 minutes, still 1 minute from the dragon. We're still stacking up. Of course, it would be good to get a kill from basically anywhere at this point, but unfortunately, the enemies, they know what they're doing. They're not gonna let us kill them so easily. And Lulu is probably Draven's best counter in terms of support, even more so than something like a Nami or a Yumi, because Lulu's polymorph really blocks Draven from doing what he wants to do, like any meaningful damage, because you want to go in, you want to go aggressive, and you get polymorphed, and what can you really do in this instance? Now here you guys can see that I have 103 stacks at the moment, and 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so this is roughly the amount of stacks you would have at the first dragon, a little bit over 100 stacks at the first dragon. Maybe more if you have a lot more things to attack, but yeah, this is roughly the amount of stacks you should have at the first dragon if you have neither killed anyone nor have you died. So here I'm just going to recall. I have enough gold to get the Bloodthirster before the first item. Of course, that is a major power spike, so we're going to pick up the Bloodthirster and we're going to head over to the dragon. Now, the only small issue is both the our jungler and the enemy and the enemy jungler is both at the Rift Herald side now. Now, Gragas is recalling to actually rotate over to the dragon, so that's good, because of course I want the fight to happen at the dragon, because I'm not going to go down to the Rift Herald fight, and I really want to get a kill to cash in my stacks. So here I'm just going to quickly get top lane priority by shoving out the wave. You can see Lulu and Akshan headed back toward the wave. They know that they can step up, so basically you will permanently have priority. Now here the enemy team does manage to pick up the Herald. Really nice catch by Nami, followed by the ult by Lulu to kind of save the Akshan. Here I'm on the chase, trying to pretty much just kill the Akshan. I get in like 3 auto attacks and a 4th one there. Unfortunately, the Akshan does not die, which really irritates me, because I really do want to get that kill to cash in my like 150 stacks at this point. Here I'm trying to do damage to the Lulu, but unfortunately no one is really tanking the tower. I kind of need someone to tank the tower for me. Again, I end up tanking the tower, and I have to flash back to prevent myself from getting destroyed by the Evelynn. Evelynn ults out and Ahri picks up the kill. Again, not ideal because I really need that kill, and I'm running out of mana to cast my Blood Rush, which is my W ability. So here I'm just trying to see if we can really do anything. Lulu is still really low. I eat the polymorph, which is actually good because it means she doesn't have it up anymore. Here, Cassidy runs straight into the charm, and I'm finally able to get in the cash in. As you can see, that was 350 gold for the kill and 660 gold for the cash in. So we do manage to actually pick up the cash in and don't actually end up dying. So here, we're going to rotate one full circle around to actually help the Gragas out with the dragon. So here I see Evelynn. I'm just tossing out my E to prevent the Evelynn from actually coming in to try to even attempt to steal. And yeah, so here all is good. So now here we have the dragon, we have the 1 kill in the bag, and we can easily just reset and pick up a couple more items. Alright, so here we pick up boots and a BF sword. As you can see, that kill, gave us nearly 1,000 gold just straight up from that 1 kill. So huge purchases from our side. With the BF sword, gives us a lot extra AD, allowing us to continue our snowball. So 1-0 and 1 with a huge cash in is obviously what we want, and that's where the Draven snowball is gonna try to attempt to begin. Unfortunately though, we do lose the tower. I try to hit Lulu with my ult, but I miss the return. Gragas comes in with his ult to finish her off. Akshan is caught in no man's land, and I do pick up the kill for another juicy cash in. Of course, this time it's only 100 plus gold, but yeah, it's still really good. As you can see there, you guys saw the attack speed there. That was from the Lethal Tempo, of course. So yeah, Lethal Tempo in team fights is gonna increase your DPS by a lot. Alright, so here we're just going to take down the tower in turn. Of course, not the first tower anymore, so no bonus gold, but a tower is a tower. We're going to take that. However, of course, the Riven did pick up the Rift Herald, so she's going to put it down in mid lane, and I'm going to try to stop them from getting the tower. Now here I accidentally autoed the minion. You guys can see that if I autoed the Kassadin there, I might have been able to kill him. Maybe he would have lived on 1 HP, but it would have been really close. So I accidentally autoed the minion instead of the Kassadin. Kind of unfortunate, but hey, can't really, fix that mistake anymore. So yeah. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're just going to clear out the mid lane. We're trying to farm up to getting our Infinity Edge. We're kind of almost there, so we just need another wave or 2 to actually really pick up the Infinity Edge. And I don't really want to recall and waste time without having enough gold for Infinity Edge, because it means I need to recall twice in a short span. So here I'm just checking that there is nobody around the area. I just want to pick up like a minion or 2 more, which will get me to my Infinity Edge. I'm just kind of waiting around for the next wave. Alright, so here the next wave is in, and I'm going to just pick up 2 minions, and that gives me enough for the Infinity Edge. So here I'm ready to back. Now unfortunately, Riven flashes in, eats the charm by Ahri, so I'm going to cancel my back to actually instead try to go for the Riven. I can't believe Riven didn't die to that auto attack though, but Ahri does manage to finish her off with the ultimate. Goes in again, misses the charm unfortunately, so really hard to really hard to follow up anything from there on. So the fight looks like it's still going on, so I pop the fruit to get more mana, and I'm going back into the fight. Kassadin gets caught, and Kassadin gets eviscerated. There he goes. Darius flashes forward. He has the passive on, doesn't have ult though. Does manage to actually pick up another kill, but is tanking the tower, so Akshan did manage to actually kill him. And does get the revive for the Kassadin. So here Gragas cleans house, picks up a double kill, and if you guys notice there, I actually exhausted the Evelyn to prevent the execute on both Nami and Gragas. So that could have been a double kill for the Evelyn, but the exhaust really cuts her damage and stops her from doing that. Alright, so now I'm finally going to recall to pick up my items. Now Riven is actually revived and it's back on the tail of my team. I quickly pick up my Infinity Edge and I'm running straight over to try to stop her. Now she's apparently trying to execute herself. I don't think she's inting here, but I don't really know what she's trying to do. Either way, I get a free kill. I'm not going to complain about that. I believe her intention was to actually execute herself because she hasn't inted before that, and she doesn't actually int after that. So I think that she was actually trying to execute herself. But she could have just ran away back into the jungle, so I'm really not quite sure what she was thinking there. Either way, I'm going to take the free kill. I'm going to take the cash in of 244 gold. I'm not going to complain about that at all. But this is really strange, the decision making process from the Riven there. I don't quite know what she was trying to do there. Anyways, we do get ourselves the Herald. I ult down the jungle street and trying to pick up a kill. Ahri goes forward. Now, unfortunately for me, this team has a lot of like dashes to chase, and I don't. So Gragas can dash forward to chase. Ahri has multiple dashes forward to chase with her ultimate, but I don't. And Darius has the Proto Belt. So as you guys can see, in a couple of these fights, my team is like flying forward, and I'm not in a position to really DPS anything because I'm way too far behind. But yeah, you know, hey, it is what it is. Draven has no mobility. He only has that speed up from his Blood Rush. No real like dashes and such, so yeah, you can't really do anything about that. So here anyways, we see Kassadin split pushing. We're trying to respawn by trading onto the mid tower, and we actually almost make it there. Lulu kind of shows up. Here I actually was planning to back off, so I don't actually end up catching my axes. Here Riven comes in with a flash stun again. The Nami gets caught off guard and not too much she can do there. Here I have to flash away from the Riven so I don't get CC'd. Ahri instead gets CC'd by everything, and here I'm trying to trade the kill onto the Riven. Doesn't quite work out. Now I'm in a 2v1 versus Akshan and Evelyn. I managed to actually hit both the forward and return sections on my ultimate, but Evelyn does survive on 1 HP, which is really unfortunate, and I have no idea where she went. I thought that she went toward the red buff, but I don't think her invisibility you know, procs that fast, but maybe it did, because I have no idea where she went. So either way, I'm just going to take the red buff, and I'm just going to recall, pick up my boots of Furor, and start building toward my Storm Razor. I'm going to pick up another BF sword. Now another option I had here is I could have gone for the Stasis, especially since I'm 3-0 and 6. I'm relatively fed, so Stasis wouldn't be all that bad here. Here Nami kind of gets caught out, but instead my whole team is going to actually collapse on this kill. Ahri picks up the kill, and we're on the chase yet again. As you guys can see, Ahri dashes forward. I can't really follow. I can only kind of just, yeah, as you guys can see, I'm just trying my best to catch up. I know I'm not going to catch up, so I'm just going to make myself useful by clearing the wave instead of just blindly running at the enemy when I cannot actually catch up at all. So anyways, with the wave, we are able to pick up the mid lane tier 2, and we can even push on to the mid lane inhibitor. So turns out that, of course, getting the wave is of course going to be an important thing. So here we pick up the inhibitor as well. And here I nearly get the Kassadin with my ultimate. He was left at 1 HP. But of course we can't end the game here. So what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to simply retreat back, and on the way out take some of the enemy's jungle. Now Riven looks like she wants to chase me down. Doesn't end up doing so. Now here enemy blue buff is up, so I'm going to take that. Ahri already has a blue buff, so she does give it to me. Really nice of her. Yeah, but Draven does really actually benefit from blue buff because he can start spamming his W non-stop when you have blue buff. Whereas if you don't, you kind of have to only use it when necessary for the movement speed or the attack speed. You can't just spam it at every available opportunity because if not, you run out of mana, and that is of course going to be an issue. So basically, you know, of course, having that blue buff is going to be great, is what I'm trying to say. So here I actually run into a Riven. I'm honestly fairly certain that I can 1v1 this Riven because she has Ignite and I have Exhaust. And I think that that Exhaust is going to cut her damage by enough that I can kill her. But since I don't actually have Ult and Flash, I don't really want to find out if I win against her or not. So I'm just going to walk away. No need to take any unnecessary risks if I don't have to. Alright, so basically at this point in time, both teams are kind of just posturing in the mid lane. Nothing too much is happening. Fight looks like it's going to break out, but nothing really happens. Alright, so here Cassidy tries to go in. Nami is really low, and it kind of becomes a small skirmish, and in the end both teams disengage, nothing too much happens. Alright, so here I'm gonna quickly take the red buff. Of course I'm still really fed. Red buff is gonna do really well on me, and I miss all of my axes after the red buff take. I haven't played this game in like almost 2 weeks, so a little bit of rusty mechanics on the Draven X catching there. Yeah, but anyways, here we are going to see what we can do. Nothing too much we can do, honestly. It's kind of just really the neutral game at the moment. Nothing is really happening. Here enemy team is trying to push in. Cassidy tries to go in. Riven is on her way in as well. Pops the ult, goes in, gets charmed. Actually, Evelyn gets charmed. Here we get the kill onto Evelyn. Exhaust the Riven so she doesn't actually end up damaging my team all that much. Did manage to of course, maintain the catches on my axes. I see Lulu's really low. I go ahead and kill her in 2 auto attacks. See Cassidy's really low as well. I get the kill on him as well. I get the triple onto the Riven. And I get the quadra onto the Shan. Now I believe that... Wait, who was the person that I didn't kill? I think it was the Evelyn. So I think someone actually killed the Evelyn. So unfortunately no Penta for me. But fortunately with that, the death timers are long enough that we can simply just end the game without... Oh no, I did kill the Evelyn. So who was it that I didn't kill? Maybe... Nah, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Anyway, we're just gonna end the game. So yeah, there we have it. Draven's still really strong, and really strong with lethal tempo as well. You guys saw it from that last quadra kill fight, how lethal tempo came into the picture. So anyways guys, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you so much for watching the video guys, and goodbye.